Hello friends, welcome back to the tetrahedron chemistry classes. So guys, a very happy new year to you. And since I am uploading my first video of 2022 with the hope that I'll continue to upload the content regularly in my channel. Okay, so today I'm going to take a very important, very special topic which is very important for the students, actually the students who are doing their PhD programs, right? And we all know the students, actually we all are not that fortunate enough that to go to the central universities or the IITs or the ISCs or other institutions, but we all do the PhD in state universities and all those areas where we don't have actually the correct exposure to such techniques, to understand or to learn such techniques. Okay, but these techniques are very important in research program. Okay, however in the competitive examinations also now they are asking the question from this particular topic. So today I am going to discuss a topic which is used in the carbon NMR spectroscopy, and the name of the experiment is the DEPT experiment, depth experiment, and the full form of depth experiment is distortionless enhancement by polarization transfer. However, it seems a quite complicated one, but believe me, I am telling you that the interpretation of the 2D NMR spectrums, or like your depth spectrum and the other 2D NMR spectrum, the interpretation is not that difficult. Only proton NMR spectrum interpretation is difficult, while other interpretations actually are quite easy. But we students generally afraid to those techniques because we don't have the correct exposure to learn these kinds of the techniques. Okay, so I'm not going into the experimental section, the how actually the programs will run and how the phase angles and the delays, all these things will go. I'll not going to into that much of the detail, but I'll explain you the things the things which are very important for you, that is the interpretation of that particular spectrum and the utility of the depth experiment. Okay, so it is distortionless enhancement by the polarization technique. Okay, so what is the use? So at point number 1, what you can do, you can take the snapshot also if you want. So what is the point number 1? It says that this depth experiment is very useful technique to determine the number of the hydrogens attached to the particular carbon. Okay, basically depth is the extension of your APT, actually, right? APT experiment, APT. Okay, attached proton transfer. Okay, so sorry, attached polarization transfer or attached proton transfer. See, please check the full form of the APT. Okay, now because these APT is outdated now, so actually I couldn't remember the exact full form of the APT, but this depth is the extension of the APT experiment. Okay, however APT and depth both give the same kind of the result, but the sensitivity of the depth experiment is too much higher when compared to the APT experiment. Okay, so what you will do in that case, in that case you will get the actually the information of the number of the hydrogens attached to the carbon. As you know, carbon can have only maximum of the 3 hydrogens attached to it, like CH3 3 hydrogens in the methyl, 2 hydrogens in the methane, like methylene, that is CH2, and 1 hydrogen in the methane, that is CH. So CH3, CH2, CH, only these much number of the trans hydrogens can attach to the different carbon atoms, and this information you can get by analyzing or by interpreting this depth spectrum. Okay, this is the first point. What the second point is that, see, complex program of the pulses and the delay times in both the channels, that is in the proton and the carbon channel. So however, this is the experimental part, but you must know that what we do in that case, we actually pulse program is quite complex. See, what is the pulse program and how we execute the experiment, if you don't know this much of these things, so you can see the previous video on the NMR spectrum. See, you can click on the NMR in the YouTube, you can write in the YouTube NMR spectroscopy by tetrahedron chemistry classes, then it will give you the playlist where you will find all these content. Okay, so however these things are different, but in that case the delay times would be different one, and these different pulses and the complex pulse program and the different delays times will be applied to the both channels, like proton and the carbon, and for this you will get the different informations. Okay, so this is the second point. However, you can skip this one if you find it is this is little difficult and not useful, but first point is the very important one. Now coming to the third point, in the depth experiment, the low sensitivity of the carbon 13C, that is carbon 13, is enhanced by the polarization transfer of the more sensitive proton attached to that carbon. See guys, this is something very very important guys. You know, your 13C, its population is roughly 1%. The active nuclei, that is 13C, this population is actually only 1%. However, this proton, which is the active nuclei of hydrogen, it is having the population of 99%. Okay, so due to this higher population, this is very sensitive. This is very sensitive. Very sensitive means NMR instrument can very easily recognize this nuclei due to this higher sensitivity. However, this carbon, if you see here, this carbon, it is having only 1% of population of this active nuclei. So population is very low, so its sensitivity is also very low, and sometimes instrument actually don't recognize the presence of this low sensitive nuclei. So what we do in that case, we actually enhance or increase the sensitivity of this carbon 13C carbon, which is low sensitive, by the polarization transfer of the attached hydrogen to that particular carbon. So when we do this, actually when we transfer the polarization from the hydrogen to the carbon, what happens, the sensitivity of this carbon increases and its signal actually enhances, and you can easily identify that signal, and instrument can easily recognize this thing, okay, this carbon, and then in the spectrum you will get the peak related to this carbon only. Okay, now one thing you can very easily understand what I said actually, since we are transferring polarization from hydrogen to the carbon, okay, only then we are getting the signal in the depth spectrum. So what is the meaning of that? Meaning of that, carbon which is not having hydrogen attached to it will not actually show any signal in the your depth experiment. So please remember, in that case, the carbon, that is the quaternary carbon, 4-degree carbon, which is not having any attached hydrogen, will not give any signal in the depth spectrum. Okay, I hope this is clear to you. Now the point number 4, what it says, carbon which do not have, okay, this point I have already explained to you, the carbons which do not have attached proton to it, or to them actually, if it is the carbon, then it should be them. So what I can do, I can remove this, okay, and similarly I can write it which does not have. So carbon which actually does not have hydrogen attached proton to it don't give any signal in the depth experiment, and such carbons are actually the 4-degree carbons. Please remember, such carbons are 4-degree carbon. Okay, they are not having any hydrogen attached to it, so these carbons will not give signal in the NMR spectrum. Okay, and the next point, that is the point number 5, in depth experiment, the in depth spectrum, if the sensitivity of the signal is higher, then it indicates the more number of the hydrogens attached to that particular carbon. This is quite obvious guys, since we are transferring the polarization from the proton to the carbon. Okay, that means from this hydrogen to this carbon we are transferring the polarization. Similarly, we are transferring the polarization from these two hydrogens to this carbon, from this one hydrogen to this carbon. Obviously, the more number of carbons, more number of hydrogens are there in the methyl, so the polarization transfer would be higher in that case. So its signal intensity would be high in that case. So in the depth instrument, in the depth spectrum, if you see actually, so the signal which is actually having the very highest intensity indicates the attachment of the three hydrogen. If if the intensity of the signal is very low, then it shows the attachment of the one hydrogen only. So this is actually the intensity decreases in this particular order. So these 5 points, not 5 actually, the 4 points, you can skip the second one, are very very important in order to understand, in order to interpret the NMR depth NMR spectrum. Okay, now what is the, see how many kinds, see how actually the depth experiment works. So basically in depth experiment we do the 3 different experiment 1, experiment 2, experiment 3, and in these experiments, right, in between among these experiments actually only the difference is what, see, pulse program is different, definitely is different, but delay is very very important. So the way initially first we will get the in the experiment number 1 where we are having the no delay, in that case we are having the depth 45. 45 actually is the degree actually, and it is the phase angle, right, when the magnetization would occur and then the polarization transfer would occur. So this is the phase angle. So I'm not going into the detail of that concept of the phase angle. If you want to know the phase angle, again you can go, you can learn from my previous lectures. So 45 degrees basically is the angle actually, okay, phase angle. So depth 45 degree. So if you have the depth 45 spectrum, what it will show, it will give you the signals of all the carbons which are attached to the which are attached to the carbon, while the carbon which is not actually attached to the hydrogen, it will not give any signal. So this is what I have written here. All those carbons which have attached proton to them give signal. Therefore quaternary carbon signal is lost actually. So quaternary carbon in depth 45, right? So how I can explain, say for example, simply I am having, say this is carbon here, and say this is CH3, this is another CH3, this is another CH3, this is CH2, this is CH2, and say this is CH3, right? Say I am having this one. So see, in the spectrum, in the normal carbon spectrum, you will get the signal for all the carbons actually, right? These three are equivalent, so for these three you will get only one signal in the spectrum, okay. But in the depth, if you do the depth experiment, in a depth experiment you will get the signal for this methyl as well as the signal for these three methyl, and you will get the signal of these two methyl, this methylene, but this carbon is not having any hydrogen attached to it. So in depth 45 experiment spectrum, you will not get the signal for this particular carbon because it is the quaternary carbon. There is no transfer of the polarization. This is important, please remember this point. Second experiment is the experiment 2, which is the depth 90. So what, see, once you finish with the depth 45 experiment, then with slight little delay time, you will do the you will change the phase angle from 45 degree to the 90 degree, okay. And when you do the depth 90 experiment, you will get the spectrum, and that depth 90 spectrum will only give the signal for the methane protons, okay, that is CH protons. So for example, if I change this, say for example, if I remove this one, okay, and I attach hydrogen to this, okay, so this is actually your methane, CH. So only this signal would be present in the depth 90 experiment, while there would be no signal for the methyl and for the methylene, okay. So this is important, please remember this point. And the very important one is the third one, that is the experiment number 3. Again what you do, we will actually slightly increase the delay time and will change the phase angle from 90 degree to 135 degree, and the experiment is known as the depth 135. So depth 135 is very important, please remember, okay. So in that case, what actually has happens, CH3 and CH, that is methyl and methane, you see odd number of hydrogens are there, 3 and 1, 3 hydrogens and 1 hydrogen, they give the positive signal. Positive signal means your absorption actually on towards the positive side, that means upper trace of the spectrum. Upper trace means, say if you have this kind of a spectrum, so if you are having these peaks, so this is your upper trace, this is your lower trace. Sometimes it is also known as the positive signal, it is reverse signal or the negative signal, okay. So please remember, in depth 135, CH3 and CH will give you the positive signal on the upper side, and CH2, that is methylene, will give you the signal in the lower trace. So and in actually interpretation, you will generally have these two, experiment 2 and experiment 3, depth 90 and depth 135 are generally given. However, there is no such use of the depth 45, but you should remember that the depth 45 will also important in order to know that how many carbons will have the attached hydrogen to the carbon, okay, and the carbon which is not having the hydrogen attached to it will be lost in the spectrum. So if you remember these much of things, then it is quite easy for you to understand or to interpret that particular spectrum, okay. Now you see here, see this is the spectrum, see guys, this is the scanned copy. So there may be the chance if I viewing that video in the mobile, so there would be little problem in actually clearly watching this particular spectrum, because it is not very clear in the mobile. However, it is in the laptop or in the desktop, it is quite visible to me. And it is the depth, see, it is depth 135, it is written here depth 135 spectrum of isopentyl acetate. So for this you should know the isopentyl acetate. So what is the isopentyl acetate? First of all, you make the isopentane, right? CH2 CH2 and my CH and CH3 and CH3. Okay, this is isopentane and this is ester acetate. Okay, O, C double bond O, CH3. Okay, so it is basically the you have replaced the hydrogen of the acetic acid with the isopentyl group. You see here, if you put hydrogen here, it would be acetic acid. That means you have replaced the hydrogen of the acetic acid with this isopentyl group. So this is the structure actually, and this is the depth spectrum for this one. So in order to understand actually where it will go, see, first of all you should what I can do, I can give the number to this particular structure. Say this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is carbon 5, this is carbon 6, since, and you can see this is also 1, because these two are the same. Please remember, this methyl and this methyl, they are the same. So you can obviously see, first of all, you know this thing, your alkanes may have your CH3, it may have your CH2, it may have your CH. They actually produce the signal pretty high field, like your 10 to 30 ppm. 10 to 30 ppm. Okay, this is the chemical shift for this one. So here in that case, if you closely watch the spectrum, in that case, you see this is your CH3, and this is also CH3, this is also CH3. Okay, so you see that this actually CH3 is having 3 hydrogen, this CH3 is also having the 3 hydrogens, right? Please see here actually. Okay, this is important, very important. And obviously this one, so they will have the highest intensity. You see this peak 1 is quite large here. Why the intensity is quite high for this one? Okay, because they are having the more number of hydrogen attached to it. Okay, however for 6 actually you see the intensity is low. Why low? Because only 3 hydrogens are there. Okay, and in that case both are same, 6 hydrogens are there. So this indicates the methyl, this also indicates the methyl. Of course this indicates the 2 methyl, this indicates the 1 methyl. First of all you should remember this thing. And the important thing is that you see what important feature you can observe in that case, this CH2, that is the carbon number 4, which is directly attached to the oxygen, it is highly de-shielded. If it is highly de-shielded, that means its chemical shift would be very, very high chemical shift it will have. So for this particular carbon, that is carbon 4, the chemical shift is somewhere around say 62 ppm. Okay, 62 ppm. And this is your next CH2, and it is slightly away from this carbon number 4. You see, this is slightly away from this carbon number 4, so it will also have the higher chemical shift, but its chemical shift is actually little lower than this 62. So if you clearly see the chemical shift of this one, so it will give you somewhere around 39 ppm. Okay, and you know this spectrum is what it is, depth 135, and in the depth 135 you have already seen in that case CH3 and CH, they will give you the positive signal. That means they will appear in the upper trace, while your CH2 will give you the negative signal. Negative signal means lower trace. Okay, so if you see this one, you see here, this is CH3, this is CH, so CH3, and these two CH3 here, and one CH is here. So how many, see this signal must present on the positive side. So positive side is this one. Okay, positive absorption is there. You see here, this is your say CH3 CH3. So you are getting the signal here in the upper trace, and since these are the CH3, so your signal is somewhere around at 20 ppm for this one. This is the chemical shift scale for the carbon. Okay, so you are getting this signal at the upper trace. Clear? And then you can see here, next is your carbon number 6. It is, you see, it is carbon number 6. Okay, it is also having the CH3, odd number of the hydrogen. It should be on the upper trace. So carbon 6 is also in the upper trace. Then you are having this 2. This is again CH, methane, right? So methane should also present in the upper trace. So this is your methane, which is carbon number 2. So for this 2 you are getting your signal is here. For this 6 your signal is here, and for these two ones actually the signal is here. However, you can argue that this CH3 is actually attached to this carbonyl. Okay, so it should be actually the low field signal, but it is quite off field actually, but it is not here, but it is not so. See, I'll discuss these things when I'll explain the carbon NMR spectroscopy in the detail. Okay, and this signal is for the TMS, that is tetramethylsenil, which is the internal standard. You can skip this one. And now you see in the lower trace actually you get the signal for the CH2. So one CH2 is here and another CH2 is here. So two signals you are getting here in that case. And this signal is at 62 would be the most downfield because it is attached to the highly electronegative oxygen. So you see signal at 62. This signal belongs to this, and this actually signal somewhere around at 39 ppm, it belongs to this one. So see how easy is this one. Okay, so this is how you can very easily interpret your depth experiment. So this is the very simple example. I can give you one more example which will give you the more insight to this technique, actually how to interpret this thing. Okay, so what happens in that case? We'll see here. Okay, this is another depth experiment. So what I can do, okay, right, I hope this is clear. See here, this is the structure. Okay, and this is your ethyl butanoate. This is ethyl butanoate. Structure is what? CH3, and this is double bond O. This is CH2 and CH3. This is this structure actually. Okay, and of course one hydrogen would be here, another hydrogen would be here. So in that case, this you see here different traces are given here. So first of all, you see this is the carbon spectrum. Okay, and you know, if you see the carbon spectrum, then you can easily identify the chemical shift, and it is quite obvious from here. For this methyl actually the signal is somewhere around 14 ppm, which is quite upfield. Okay, there is no problem in that. Okay, and after that you see this methyl is also there, this methyl is also here. Okay, and this is also actually the upfield signal. So this will give you the signal somewhere around at say 20 ppm, and more correctly it is somewhere around 90 ppm. You're getting this signal here. Okay, and after that you can see this CH2 is here, and that CH2 is attached to the highly electronegative oxygen. It should be downfield, little bit downfield. So you are getting the signal for this one somewhere around at 61 ppm. Okay, and then you are if you have the alkene, I hope this is clear to you, or I am assuming that you are having the previous knowledge for this one. Alkenes carbons, doubly bonded carbon, they actually give the signal somewhere around somewhere between 110 to 150 ppm. Okay, at this range it will give you. So for this carbon as well as for this carbon, the signal must be in between these two ranges. So if you check this one for this particular one, okay, signal is somewhere around 122 ppm, and for this carbon, okay, the signal is somewhere around 144 ppm. See, however, it is quite difficult sometimes to actually assign the exact chemical shift in the carbon NMR spectroscopy based on the shielding and the de-shielding, because various other factors are also there in that case. Okay, so these are the chemical shift. But you see, this is also carbon, you see this is also carbon, but you will not get the signal for this particular one. In the, if you check here your depth 45, so you will get the signal for all the carbons which have attached hydrogens, but you will not get the signals for that carbon which is not having the hydrogen. So this carbon is not having the hydrogen, so you will not get the signal for this particular carbon, but you will get the signal for this carbon, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So total 5 signals would be there in the depth 45. You see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these 5 are there in the depth experiments, depth 45, CH3, CH2 and CH. There is no signal for this carbonyl carbon, or the if it would have the quaternary carbon, obviously that signal would also not be there in that case. Now you can go for the depth 90 experiment, and I already told you, if you do the depth 90 experiment, it will give you the signal only for the methine carbons. Okay, that means CH carbon. So in that case, this is CH, this is CH. So you will get only 2 signal in the depth 90 in that case. You see, this is CH, this is also CH, and these are the corresponding chemical shift. Okay, these are the corresponding chemical shift. Please remember. Now, very important one, the depth 135 experiment, and you know, in the depth 135 experiment, the lower trace will give you the signal attached to the methylene carbon, that is CH2. So in that case, only one CH2 is there. So in the depth 135 experiment, you will get only one signal in the lower trace. So you are having only one signal on the lower trace, while this will give you this 1, 2, 3 and 4. Total 4 signals would be in the upper trace. You see here 1, 2, one belongs to this CH3, other belongs to this CH3. Okay, and then this CH, this CH, these signals are here actually. You see how easily we are actually determining the different kinds of the hydrogens present in the molecule, like CH3, CH2 and CH, by using this particular technique. I hope this is clear to you. Okay, let's quickly finish one more little bit difficult example. Okay, right. So again, what I can do, okay, right. This is the this is the carbon NMR spectrum for the citronenol. Okay, so citronenol is actually your monoterpene. Okay, it is monoterpene. So I can write it as monoterpene. It is monoterpene and found in the rose essential oil. If you take the rose essential oil, then this would be present in that case. It is alcohol actually, basically. So it is monoterpene, and you know how we can draw the structure for the monoterpene. See how many carbons are there in that case. Okay, first of all, you should know the structure for this one. Right. This is alcohol, no problem in that. This is CH3. Okay, and then you are having hydrogen attached to it, and then this, and again you see this is CH3, this is CH3. Okay, this is the citronenol structure. So if I number this, how I can do? Say this is carbon 1, this is carbon 2, this is carbon 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, this is 7 again. Okay, and this is 8, this is 9. Okay, this is 10. So how many signals would you expect in the carbon NMR spectrum? See guys, this is the normal carbon NMR spectrum for this one. I am not going to assign the exact chemical shift of this one. Okay, but you should know actually, you should have the idea about that, since these are the carbons, actually alkene carbons, so they will resonate somewhere between 122 or 110 to 150. So this carbon would be in between 110 to 150. This would also be in between 110 to 150, while this carbon which is attached to the oxygen, and this is the alcoholic carbon, and you know the alcoholic carbon actually generally have the chemical shift between 30 to the 60 ppm. So these two would be the most downfield, that means they will have the highest chemical shift, like I can show you here, these two. Okay, and these two signals belongs to this carbon and this carbon, and this particular signal, that is CH2, it belongs to for this carbon number 1 here, and all these are actually for these methyls and the methylenes. Okay, but it is not that easy to interpret. So however, you can you might think that what is this actually. So this is the signal for solvent CdCl3. It is the signal for the deuterated chloroform, you can very easily ignore this, and this is the signal for the TMS, you can again very easily ignore this. Okay, so how many numbers of the how many signals you may expect in the for this particular compound? Obviously 10. Okay, so this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, okay, this is 5, this is 6, this is 7, this is 8, this is 9. Only 9 signals are there. Why? Because this methyl as well as this methyl, they are the same actually. These two are the same, so they will have the identical chemical shift. That's why we lost actually one signal. So we should expect actually the 10 carbon signals, but we'll get only 9 because these two are the identical one. Okay, so they are actually the isochronous. Their chemical shift are same actually. So this is the idea about the proton NMR spectrum for this one. But what we can do, we can think a little bit more about this one. Right, this is the depth experiment. Okay, so what I can do, I can little bit enhance this one. Okay, I made a mistake, so what I can do, I can draw that structure again here very quickly. I'll do this. This was your OH, and this was this, and this is CH3, this is CH3, and of course one CH3 is here and another hydrogen is here, and rest is fine. And what was the number in that case? This was 1, this was 2, this was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Okay, but in that case again I am giving you an idea. In that case this is the depth 135 experiment again. You see, this carbon is basically a carbon which is not having the hydrogen. So the carbon number 7, what I have written this CH2 carbon as 7 actually I have written, so I can write little bit clear, because this actually is not having any attached hydrogen to it, so you will not observe any signal related to this carbon in the depth experiment, that is 7. You see, this is 6, 3, 9, 10, 8, 5, 2, 4, 1, but you are not having the signal for this one. So you easily lost this signal in the depth 135 experiment. Okay, now the next thing is that this signal. Okay, I already told you the highest chemical shift for actually this doubly bonded carbon. So this carbon number 6 would be highly actually your downfield signal, and this would be somewhere around 120 to 25, 125 ppm. Okay, so very easily you can recognize this is as 125 ppm say. Okay, and since this this is actually what, CH, right, this is your what, CH, this 6 is actually the CH signal, and you know the CH signal actually methane signal is in the upper trace. Okay, and after that you see what I can do, this is your CH3, this is another CH3, that means 8 and 9. Okay, so you may get this signal in 8 and 9 in the depth experiment. You see here, you see this signal 8 and signal 9 for these two, and this is another methyl you see here, that is 10. So for this 10 you will get signal here in that case. Okay, and after that you are having, you see this is carbon, and that carbon is attached to the hydrogen. Okay, that means CH. So you are getting for this signal also, because upper trace you see here what I can do, I can write this is for your CH signal, okay, and this is for CH3, and 8 9, where is 9? 9 is also for CH3, 10 is also for CH3. Okay, so you are getting the signals. Now in that case, you see here what important thing you are observing. This 4, carbon 4 is basically CH2, so it should be on the lower trace. I am writing LR, carbon 4. So you are observing, yes, carbon 4 is here. You see here the signal is here. Okay, similarly this C2, it is also having CH2, so this should, or this must be present on the lower trace, so 2 is also present in the lower trace. Okay, and then you see the carbon number 1, it is CH2. Okay, and again it should be on the lower trace, so it is on the lower trace. Okay, and after that you see what we left with. Okay, this 5 we left with, right? So this C5, this is also CH2, so you are getting the signal on the lower trace. So these all signals actually belongs to the, CH2. Okay, and it is quite obvious, guys, in that case you see this actually C1 must be most downfilled, because it is attached to the highly electronegative oxygen, and you see this C1 is most downfilled, somewhere around 60 ppm. Okay, and what important feature you are observing here, you see these two are having the same chemical shift of 25 on 25, right? You see this having this carbon number 5, which is this one. Okay, and carbon number 9, which is this one. They are having the same chemical shift, this and this. Okay, but see in your spectrum earlier, see in the, if I go back, actually if I go back here, actually we have lost one signal. So I told you that earlier I told you that these two are same. Okay, earlier I told you these and these two are same, but sorry, these two are not same, they are actually a different one due to the stereochemistry involved in it. Okay, due to the stereochemistry involved in it, it is actually the different one. But this 5 and this 9, actually they have the same chemical shift, so these two signals actually due to the same chemical shift will actually appear in the same position. That's why we are having the 9 signal. Okay, so this is the correction, please note that. But in the depth experiment, you see very beautifully you can you actually identify the difference between these two. So the signal which you are not observing in the carbon NMR spectrum for the two different carbons, here you are clearly observing, right? They are having the same chemical shift, but they are present at the different trace, because this is having the 3 carbon, this is having the 2 carbon. So this is the beauty of the depth experiment. So if you apply these concepts, and then you can very easily solve the structure. But please remember, in order to solve the depth experiment, you should have the little idea about the chemical shift range of the different carbons in the carbon NMR spectroscopy. I hope this actually clear to you. So please please note that earlier I said that actually these two are the same, but they are not actually the same. Very sorry. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. So I hope you understood the things, like the lecture. Okay, so if you like the lecture and grasping the thing, please subscribe the Tetrahedron Chemistry classes and do share with your friends also, and I'll meet you in the next class with some other very important and interesting topic. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you very much.